fans, welcome to a special Q&A session. If you guys tuned into our project update a couple of weeks back, we said that about mid-month we were going to do a special Q&A session. A lot of fans, especially the newcomers that haven't been with us from the beginning, continue to ask the same repetitive questions, and unfair of me to have everyone go into the archives, if you will, or into the prior project updates, and some of them were like hour long as far as like live Q&A sessions. Unfair and unrealistic for me to have the newcomers come in and go through all that just to find answers to the questions that they have. And I apologize if I may get frustrated. It's just that I keep hearing and seeing the same questions asked over and over again. So it's like, oh, and I have to keep in mind that not everybody's been with us from the beginning. So I'm doing this special video so to help anybody that comes in, boom, we can share the link with them. The link gets shared, and the answers or the questions get answered. So I've picked out the top 10 questions that I get asked the most. So let's start with question number 1. Will this project be rendered? Yes, it will be rendered eventually. As we've stated before, the goal is to have it rendered. The question is, who will see it rendered? Unfortunately, due to a lot of the negativity, the rude comments that I've gotten, the lack of patience, etc., what we've decided to do is for those who have helped us out and contributed to our GoFundMe, and remember, our GoFundMe is to help us get equipment so that we can render, right? Those are the people that are actually going to get a gift from us. We're going to get a DVD burner, and everybody that has contributed $30 or more from the beginning of this project. So if you did, let's say $50 way back then, or if you did a combination that adds up to that, then we'll give you a gift. We'll reach out to you. We've got your email that that we'll contact. We'll confirm the address, etc., etc. And then once we have that, we'll send that out as a gift, as a thank you. It's our way of showing our appreciation for the help that you guys have given us to help us get the equipment. We've been getting special effects software, special effect files, right, that you guys are obviously witnessing. So that we don't have to mess around with particles and stuff like that, which gets very complex. So we've used some of the funding to do that. The primary focus of the funding was to help us get hardware. So we did get some software, and we have gotten some programs and files to help us along the way. We are using some of the funds also to work on in an actual sound studio, right? We had a studio that was available to us at the beginning with no cost, but unfortunately that studio no longer became available, so we've switched to another one, and unfortunately we do have to pay for it, so some of the funding has been going to that. So that is answer number 1. Yes, it will be rendered. Those who contributed via our GoFundMe above that dollar range that I gave will receive a rendered final version thank you gift from us. Again, it is a thank you gift. It is not something that you can purchase. It is to those who helped contribute towards this, towards us getting the hardware, right? That's really what we need. Let's see, when will this be finished? That's the second question I get. When will it be finished? I don't know. Our original release year was 2017. Unfortunately, due to the fact that I had to switch softwares, I had to go back and we had to take all of the data that we had put together from one software onto another. That means we didn't have to remodel anything, but we did have to re-rig everything. We did have to retexture everything. And that has taken a long time. Not only that, but we've also had to learn a new software, right? Originally, I was going back and forth whether to do this or not. I had Softimage. I'm the only person on our team who really had access to Softimage. Once Autodesk discontinued it, Jonathan and Vicky were no longer able to use the student version of it. So, or the free version, I don't know which version it was that they had, but anyhow. And so I thought to myself, Blender's free. Jonathan knows Blender, and he was able to get a really good render out of it, which I'll be honest with you guys, and I've been open about it. It's my weakest point. I am not that good with render, and the render engine in Softimage is complex. The port the render port is not the same as the final output, and I lack the understanding. Maybe if I go back now with the amount of understanding, I probably could. Who knows? I don't know. But anyhow, I decided to make that switch because I figured it's a free software, and we could potentially get more artists or more animators to come on and help us animate. And Jonathan had suggested he had like 2 or 3 more animators that he could bring on board through Blender. So I made the decision to go for it. For all the pros, right? And the visuals, the extra help, etc. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out like that. We did manage to pick up Vicky, who switched over from storyboarding over to animating, and Neil, who started out voice acting and has since come on to do animating. So we did essentially get 2 extra people, if you will, and hopefully, the even in the animatics, you can kind of see the night and day. But again, I could mimic at least the port out of Blender. I don't know how to mimic the final version, the final output that Jonathan put together. That's something that I just haven't been able to figure out. But anyhow, so when will it be finished? We don't know. It'll be finished when it's finished, right? I don't want to give another date and not hit it. Furthermore than that, I cannot pressure people to work faster, to work harder, to meet certain deadlines. Sometimes things happen. Uh, Work, family, other responsibilities, and nobody's getting paid for this. So I can't tell my team, hey, you got to get this done within 2 weeks' time. I can't. It's unrealistic. I can't even do that, right? Because I've got family, I've got the boys, I've got work myself. There are some times where I have to work 10, 12 hours in rare occasions. So there's a multitude of things, and to hold someone to that's again not being paid is unrealistic. So we don't know. It'll be finished whenever it's finished. Question number 3. Is Megatron the same as Galvatron? Now, I know a lot of people understand that G1 Galvatron was reformatted from Megatron, right? Megatron was reformatted into Galvatron, and so that's the storyline from G1. We're not taking it that route. Galvatron and Megatron are 2 separate characters. As we saw at the end of Predacons Rising, Megatron kind of throws his hands up. He gives up. He quits the Decepticons. He dismantles them. He says the Decepticons are no more. Galvatron is a direct creation of Unicron. We gave his backstory or his intro in Scene 3. So if you look up Transformers Prime Galvatron's Revenge, or I think it's TFPGR, Scene 3, or Galvatron's Revenge Scene 3, you will see that scene, and it gives the backstory of how the Destructicons came to be. And in that, we do some flashbacks, right, of what happened, some explanations, what went down. The Destructicons were all created as a direct response to the Primes, right? So Unicron was going to create anti-Primes. And so that's how Galvatron and the others came to be. So check out that scene if you can. It's really informative, and it gives you some backstory as to who Galvatron and the Destructicons are. Is this a movie, or is it season 4? It's not a season, right? A season would have a multitude of episodes, and within one episode, you've got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you've got a plot. You could have an overall a cohesive arc that kind of brings the entire season together, but that's not what we're doing, right? What we've been posting are scenes to the actual film. So a scene that we're posting is not going to have that beginning, middle, and end, right? The scene is wherever it is. The movie as a whole has a beginning, middle, and end, but broken down into parts, it doesn't. So I want to be very clear. This is a fan-based movie. So all it is, all we're doing is we're telling our story as if the Prime universe continued. In conjunction to that, we're not taking aspects of Robots in Disguise. We're not taking aspects of the comic book. We're not taking aspects of the video game, because I know those are canon and those kind of tie into the aligned continuity. We're not doing any of that. And the reason we're not doing that is because we wrote this story back in 2014 before RID even aired. So for us to have to constantly change to make sense with all these other aspects, we would never be done, right? Now is when we would be, I guess, doing things, if you will, right? Because now that RID is over, now I know where they started and where they ended, and we can make those changes. But my entire trilogy would be completely changed forever. So that's not what I want to do. I want to tell my own story apart from those things, right? And hopefully you guys will see that it seems pretty unanimous, or at least for a large portion of the Transformers community, that you guys really didn't like RID too much. I personally did not like RID too much. It had its potential, but I think, I don't know. It just, for me, it missed the mark. It really did. I think with the mini cons and uh, a lot of certain things, they brought it down to a more juvenile area. And I've talked about this before, and it just wasn't my thing. I thought Transformers Prime had that perfect blend and that perfect balance. Maybe it was a little bit on the realistic side due to the 3D aspect of it, which to me was gorgeous. But it had its humor. It definitely had its action and all that stuff. To me, it was just a masterpiece. Every time I look at it, an episode, and I look at the colors and the movements and the action, it's a masterpiece for me. So the bar is set with Transformers Prime, and RID just didn't deliver for me. Will we see other characters? Now, that's a general question. I get, will we see Optimus? Will we see Megatron? Will we see Starscream? Will we see? I got somebody who asked, will we see Nitro Zeus? I think they. I don't even know who Nitro Zeus is. But I always get a slew of characters. Will we see? Guys, I cannot fit every single character of the Transformers universe into one movie. I can't even do that across 3 movies that I have planned. All the characters that we have posted or released or publicized are the characters that we have. We're slowly doing the character sheets for future characters of the future film, but all the characters that we have for this particular film have already been posted. If you guys go to my website, www.primeanimations.com, you'll see all of the renders to all of the characters that pertain to this specific movie. As a matter of fact, I have the tabs of that website broken down between Galvatron's Revenge, Dinobots Unleashed, and then Ultimate Annihilation. So if you want, you can go ahead and visit and check out there to see all the characters that we have. Furthermore, if and there's going to be surprise characters in the future films, so I'm not going to release all of the characters all at once. That's another thing, right? I kind of want to build up the anticipation. I want to give you guys surprises, like for instance, Bruticus, right? I didn't throw out Bruticus right away, right? I held on to it until a little bit later on to kind of give you guys that surprise and be like, wow, that's pretty cool. So likewise, I'm going to be doing that with the other 2 films as well. So whatever characters we release is the characters that you'll be seeing. Let's see. I get a lot of people asking details about the next film, or even details about this film, like who's gonna die and who's gonna survive, and is this going to happen? Is that going? Guys, why would you ask that question? Those questions. It makes no sense. That's like me telling you how the story's gonna end before the story comes out. What's gonna make you want to watch it, right? It like I don't understand what is the hunger to know these things that are going to take away from the surprise, the shock, the all. It's going to bring it all down to that level. If you know prematurely, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I kind of knew that. Oh yeah, yeah. Just wait, relax. Let the story play out. Once the story plays out, and if there's something that you don't get, either A, I did it on purpose because we'll answer it in the sequels, or B, you might not understand it, and you could certainly ask for clarification, but wait for the story to come out. Don't ask for the details preemptively. I'm not going to answer it. So if you guys reach out and ask me a question regarding those types of details, I won't answer them. You're not going to. I'm way too busy to be going back and texting every day or messaging, and then there's further questions that develop from that. And I really just don't have the time. Every time I have to stop and answer a question, it's time away from that or time away from whatever I'm doing. So please don't ask about those types of details. If you need further understanding, totally understandable. But as far as how it ends, or who dies and who lives and who's going to make it to the next, nah. Let's see. Next question. Do we need voice actors? I get a lot of that. So for this particular film, no. All of our lines have already been recorded. They were recorded a while back ago. We do have some additional lines that we either added along the way to further explain things or stuff like that. But as of right now, we don't need any voice actors for this particular film. Um, we will need them for the future. So once we get to that bridge, we'll communicate it out to the general audience. And like we did in this first one, people will get a chance to audition for the parts, right? And then based on those auditions, we will select those talents, right? Sometimes sometimes I get the message of, okay, let me know when you're ready. I'm not gonna write down a list of who you are, of all these people, and then 3 years from now reach back. No, I'm not gonna do that. Once we're ready, follow us, number one, on our YouTube channel, because we'll announce it there, and we'll also announce it on our Facebook page. Those are the two best ways that you can get information, is through those two platforms. So once we're ready, once we get there, we'll post it out there. Hey, we're doing auditions for these characters. Please go ahead and we'll provide lines, specific lines for the characters. Then you guys will go ahead and do your thing and send us an audio file of you auditioning. And based on that, myself with James and Nolan and Jason, we will get together and we'll listen and we'll select the best ones based on the characters that we are looking for, and the emotions that are being portrayed, and the acting, etc., right? So that's that. What's next? Knockout's eyes. Oh gosh, this one's such a funny story. So I get this question, I don't know how many times a month. Why are Knockout's eyes blue? Some people think it's cool. Oh, cool, Knockout's eyes are blues. A lot of people don't. So I think it's like 50-50, maybe 60-40, somewhere around there. Why I chose to make them blue? There's a multitude of reasons. Number one, there's an episode in Transformers Prime. I don't remember what episode and I don't remember what season, where Ratchet is telling the backstory of how Optimus and Megatron were once friends. It might have been the end of season one. And in that backstory, he tells them that they were once, the Optimus admired him, and Megatron went from being a gladiator in the fighting arena, and he became a politician and became very political, and he had a movement, and in that movement he gained a lot of popularity, and in that popularity he went to the High Council, and he demanded, it seemed like, to be the next Prime. And when the High Council rejected him, he turned away and became bitter. And in that flashback, we literally see Megatron's eyes going from blue to red. Now, what that means to everybody is open to interpretation. I've heard some people say, well, that's just metaphoric. It didn't really happen that way, or it doesn't mean to happen right away like that. Okay, I don't know. But it happened, right? His eyes went from blue when he was neutral, if you will, because he wasn't an Autobot. There were no factions at that time, according to Ratchet. He was neutral. But when his spark went dark, if you will, his eyes went red. I'm going along with that. We're starting to see Knockout's transition from being a Decepticon to being an Autobot and understanding what that means to be an Autobot. And we covered that in scene 2. We kind of explained that's why his transition is happening. As a matter of fact, it caught Smokescreen off guard. He was surprised because, like, whoa, your eyes, they're changing colors. I didn't realize that, right? We want to make that type of transition. Now, there are in some cases eyes that are different colors other than red and blue. To be honest with you, the show doesn't really explain that. It doesn't explain why different robots have different colors. There's just a general sense that blue is associated with the Autobots and red is associated with the Decepticons, unless you have Dark Energon, which then your eyes could be purple, like in Megatron when he was fused with the Dark Energon. Now, again, that's not even 100% consistent, because when Starscream had the Dark Energon in him, I don't remember his eyes changing. Furthermore, he didn't experience the same type of symptoms, if you will, that Megatron did. right? Or the same type of results. They were completely different. Why? I don't know. Doesn't go into that. For our story purpose, we are going to again go down that path. Now, in the Predacons case, we see that Predaking has yellow eyes, and so do the other Predacons and Predacons Rising. For the sequel film, we will continue with that. Why Knockout has yellow eyes, I don't know. I think Arachnid has purple eyes. Again, don't know. It's not fully explained. Not necessary for what we're trying to tell. All we know is at this juncture, blue is more so associated with the Autobots because they're good, and red is more so associated with the Decepticons because they're evil. That's it. So we're gonna run with that. Next question: Magnus's hand. How did Magnus get his hand back? That doesn't make sense. So on and so forth. Another thing that we covered in scene two. Scene two, we tackled Knockout's eyes, and in scene two we tackled Magnus's hand. And in that scene, we essentially said that, be it that Knockout was able to amputate Megatron's arm from his, I think it was from the elbow down, right, and replace it with I think it was Solus Prime's arm so he could wield the hammer. And then when Optimus Prime cuts that piece of arm off at the end of season 2, well, Knockout replaces it at the beginning of season 3. Not only that, but also when Starscream loses his hand in season 1, Knockout was there to replace his arm. And he even asked him, what kind of an arm would you like? This arm has a null ray, and this arm, and that was kind of a reference to G1, and this arm has a different weapon, and so on and so forth. So it seems like, with given the right tools, Knockout is able to make that type of a replacement. So, be it that Cybertron is now restored, Knockout is on the Autobot side, it would only make sense that Knockout was able to somehow restore Magnus's hand. He's got the knowledge, he's got the know-how, he's got the material, and he was able to do it, and that's what we explained in scene 2, excuse me. Last and final question that we have: can we help? Now, I get this question quite a lot, and so there's 3 different ways that you can help. The easiest one is to spread the word, right? Get it out there. We've got about almost 21,000 people subscribed to our channel, and we get tens of thousands of views for the scenes that we've been posting. Anything that really has to do with the animation has been getting tens of thousands of views, gets hundreds of likes. Continue to spread it out. I can't imagine that. I'm sure that the fan base for Transformers is a lot bigger than that. And again, we're getting people that are just coming into this now saying, hey, I didn't even know you guys were doing this. Wow, this is totally cool. And they're totally surprised. They had no clue. And again, we've been doing this since 2014. This project's been going on. So it's surprising that we don't have a larger following, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing, right? It just surprises me because I think that as a fan-based project for Transformers, I've seen some really good stuff for Star Wars, but as far as Transformer goes, I think we're competitive, right? I'm not gonna say that we're the best, obviously, because we haven't put out any final product, but I think I think it's pretty good. I know I have a bit of a biased opinion on that, but based on what's out there, I mean, if it wasn't me doing it, I'd totally be following. So that's one way that you can help us, right? Spread the word, share it on Transformer pages that you guys know, or that you guys are subscribed to, or that you guys are following. If you guys can share it on your Instagram, whatever social media platform you guys have, put it out there, and so on and so forth, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, if you are an artist, right, you can always come out and help out, right? If you're an artist with talent, right? I can't have somebody that doesn't have the talent to come in and try and help, right? Because that's not really help if you don't have the talent. So we do need some form of talent. You got to be able to do some form of art, and it's totally up to you what type of art that you want to do. That being said, we have had issues with people trying to I don't want to say steal our stuff, but we did have a couple of artists try and take models that didn't belong to them, right? That's one thing. If you're coming in to join as a modeler, perfect. No, We really don't need much. You come in, you model, you send us the file, you're good to go, right? But for animation, we would need to send you the models, the environment, and all that stuff, right? We would need to give you access to our share drive. And in that case, we do have a non-disclosure agreement and a work agreement that all of our artists have had to sign to come in, because again we've had artists attempt to take something that's not theirs, that they didn't put time into, like our artists have, and we all came to the agreement that none of these models would be given to anybody, sold to anybody, or anything like that. We all agreed when we started this that our models would be used solely for this project and the things connected to this project. So it would be unfair for somebody to come in, take what's not theirs after somebody else worked hard for it. And each of these models took at least a month to model out, because we rigged it. We made it so that they transform automatically. We made it so that the weapons, the internal weapons that they have, come out automatically with just sliding a control or something like that. So we put a lot of work and a lot of effort. So I don't want to cheat my artists, and obviously I don't want to be cheated at the same token. So if you are an artist and you can enter into a contractual agreement that you would not violate these things, then obviously we could obviously use the help. We can always use the help when it comes to animating specifically. If you can draw, great. We could use concept artists. If you can model, great. We can use modelers. If you could do graphic design, great. We could use graphic designers. So in that aspect, you don't really need to sign anything other than the non-disclosure. Make sure that the details of the story that you have there, that you will come to know here, do not get put out there beforehand. That would be something. And unfortunately, in order for you to enter into a contractual agreement, you would have to be 18 or over. So that's another way that you can help, right? It's a little bit more hands-on. Final way that you can help, obviously, if you are not an artist but you do want to see this film completed and then the sequels to continue, right? You can always contribute to our GoFundMe. Again, $30 or more will get you the DVD, and again, that's to cover the cost of the DVD, right? What it would take to burn it, ship it out to you. You don't have to worry about shipping. We would take care of that. Again, it's just a gift, and so on and so forth. Now, if you want to do more than the 30, by all means. If you want to do 60 and you say, hey, I want 2 DVDs, one for me and one for somebody else, by all means, just let me know that, and we can definitely accommodate for that. So those are the 3 ways that you can help, and I'll link the GoFundMe link in the comment section, so you guys can click on that. So that's basically it. Those are the top 10 questions that I keep getting asked, and hopefully I've answered them for you guys. Hopefully it's informative. And for the new fans that are coming on, welcome, obviously. And I hope you guys do enjoy the story that we're telling here. I hope you guys let the story guide you and pull you in and intrigue you. And overall, I think you'll be satisfied by the end of our storytelling. And obviously with the visuals and stuff like that, again, it's not going to be perfect, studio grade, but it is going to be something that's enjoyable, for the entire audience. So, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Just want to wish a happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.